Summary of Moll Flanders by Daniel Defoe. Defoe opens the book with a prelude to Moll Flanders's private history, in which he admits that the reader may find it difficult to believe Moll's account due to the fact that the identities of many of the participants and the circumstances surrounding their interactions have been obscured. In the beginning of her story, Moll will explain why she is hiding her name, but for now, readers will have to make do with their own thoughts about what will happen. Defoe also says that Moll is a woman of debauchery and vice, and that her story is one of evil and rot. But a lot of care was taken to make sure that her story was appropriate for the public, and people who read it with virtuous purposes are likely to learn a lot from it. Moll says that her real name is well known in the records of London's Newgate Prison and Old Bailey, so she has to use an alias because there are still crime issues going on there. Moll's mother is a prisoner who stole a few pieces of cloth and was put to death. Moll was born in Newgate Prison. But Moll's mother pleaded her belly, asked to be saved because she was pregnant, and her sentence was changed to transfer to the American colonies. When Moll is only 6 months old, her mother is sold as a servant and sent to Virginia, leaving Moll alone. Moll lives with some cousins for a while, but she ends up with a group of visiting Egyptians who leave her in Colchester when she is only 3 years old. Moll is taken care of by the local parish, which hires a nurse to take care of children until they are old enough to go to service, or get their own bread. The nurse takes good care of Moll when she is a child and teaches her good manners. She even keeps Moll from going to service, which is what most women from lower classes are supposed to do, but which Moll doesn't want to do. When Moll is a preteen, her nurse dies, and she is taken in by a wealthy and well-known woman and her family. There, Moll falls in love with the lady's handsome oldest son, who is the older brother. He promises to marry Moll as soon as he gets his inheritance. The older brother has no intention of marrying Moll because she is from a lower class and isn't thought to be a good match. However, he keeps her interested by telling her he loves her and giving her money. Once their connection becomes physical, which Moll only agrees to because he has promised to marry her, the older brother pulls away. He ends up leaving her, and Moll is forced to marry his younger brother, who has also fallen in love with her despite her social status, or she will be put out on the street. Moll has been married to her younger brother for 5 years and has given birth to 2 children with him. However, she has never loved him and dreams of being with her older brother. After 5 years, Moll's younger brother dies, and he is once again on his own. She leaves her kids with the woman and goes out into the world with about £1,200 in her bank account. Moll is still young and beautiful, and there are many men who want to marry her. However, she has sworn to be well married or not at all. She soon marries the linen draper, whom she thinks is rich and has good morals. However, after spending a lot of Moll's money, he runs away to France to avoid debtor's prison, leaving Moll again on her own. Moll also needs to avoid the linen draper's creditors, so she thinks it's best to move to a place where no one knows her and change her name. She goes to the Mint, which is a safe place for people with debts in London, and calls herself Mrs. Flanders. Moll's money is down to £460, which was still a lot of money in Moll's time. She soon marries a rich farm owner, even though she is still legally married to the linen draper. The farm owner has an estate in Virginia, and Moll finally decides to go with him to the American colonies. Moll and the plantation owner move to Virginia, where they live with the plantation owner's mother, a lovely woman who often tells stories about her younger days in London. Moll's new mother-in-law tells her straight out that she is a transported criminal, which is not a big deal in America, and Moll sees she is looking at her own mother. Worse yet, Moll's husband, the farm owner, is her half-brother, and they already have 3 children together. Moll keeps her secret for years, but she does tell her mother. When her relationship with her husband/brother gets so bad that he threatens to put her in a mental institution, Moll finally tells him the truth. Before he agrees to send Moll back to England, he falls into a deep sadness and tries to kill himself twice. Moll is once again alone in London. This time, she only has £300 in her bank account, so she chooses to go to Bath, which is known for its public spas. She has an affair with the gentleman, a married man whose wife has been sent to a mental hospital. After a few years and 3 children, the gentleman has a crisis of guilt over the affair and leaves Moll. Moll is back on her own, and her savings have grown to £400. However, she is now 42 years old, and there aren't many men she could marry. Moll is worried about her future and doesn't have anyone to talk to about it, so she takes her money to a banker and asks him to take care of her. The banker is kind and agrees to help Moll. The banker's wife has been cheating on him, so when he gets a divorce, he asks Moll to marry him. Moll isn't totally against marrying the banker, so she goes to Lancashire first. There, she meets James, who will become her 4th husband. James says he is a rich Irishman, and Moll has told him that she is a rich widow. However, when they get married, they find out that they are both broke. Moll and James both lied to each other, and they both wanted to find a better match. They broke up on good terms, and when Moll went back to London, she found out she was pregnant with James's child. Moll stays with a midwife because she can't show herself to the banker, who still wants to marry her. The midwife offers to take care of Moll until she gives birth. Moll has a son, and the nurse helps her find a family in the country to take him in exchange for money. Then, Moll goes to find the teller with most of her £400 still in her bank. Moll has been married to the banker for 5 years, and they have 2 children together. However, the banker gets sick and dies after a dishonest business partner steals most of his money. Moll goes back to befriend the midwife when she is back on her own and has no money in the bank. The midwife agrees to let Moll stay in her home for less money. There, Moll starts a life of crime and prostitution because she is so poor that she has nothing left. Moll becomes a good thief and robber, and she watches other convicts die on the Newgate gallows. Moll steals from rich women, children, and lords alike. She even takes a man's horse, but she doesn't know what to do with it or how to sell it, so she has to give it back. Moll's life of crime is very profitable, and she saves up almost £700 before she is caught stealing fabric from a London home and sent to Newgate Prison. At Newgate Prison, Moll is found guilty and given a death sentence. However, when she says she is sorry for her sins and promises to live a good life, a kind priest gets her sentence changed to transportation to America. While Moll is in jail waiting to be removed, James, who has been stealing to make a living, is also caught and sent to Newgate. James's case, on the other hand, is weak, and it seems possible that it will be thrown out for lack of proof. James agrees to go to the American colonies on his own, and after a sad meeting with Moll, they both promise to go to America and make their lives better. When they finally get to Virginia, Moll goes to check on her mother right away. She finds out quickly that her mother has died. Moll also finds out that her brother still lives on his farm with Humphrey, his son, and Moll, and that everyone in town knows about their scandalous past. Moll also finds out that her mother left her a lot of money and a farm, which Humphrey has been running for her. Moll doesn't know what to do. She wants to claim the fortune that is rightfully hers, but she doesn't want James to find out about her past. Moll and James build a successful farm in the meantime, and Moll chooses to get in touch with her brother. She writes him a letter, but Humphrey finds it and comes to see Moll right away. He meets her like a loving son and tells her everything she needs to know about her farm, which will make her £100 a year. Moll goes back to the farm she shares with James. A year later, when her brother dies, she finally tells James everything about her past. James is happy to accept Moll and her past, and they go on to live together for many more years, making money and being happy. When Moll is almost 70 years old, she moves back to England with James. They spend the rest of their lives in sincere penitence for the wicked lives they have lived.
About the author. Defoe was born in London in the parish of St. Giles, Cripplegate. His parents were James Foe, a successful candlemaker and butcher, and Anne Foe, who died when Defoe was only 10 years old. Defoe's father was a Presbyterian dissenter, which means he did not follow the Church of England. Even though it was against the law to worship outside of the Church of England, Defoe was taught at a dissenting school in London, where he probably went to a Unitarian church. After finishing school, Defoe became a trader. He mostly sold wool and wine, and in 1684, he married Mary Tuffley, the daughter of a rich merchant. People said that Defoe married Mary for her fortune, but they were married for 47 years and had 8 children together, so that can't be true. In 1685, he joined the Monmouth Rebellion, which tried to get rid of King James II of England. Defoe was later forgiven for his actions. After Mary II and William III became Queen and King of England in 1689, Defoe worked for King William as a trusted advisor and spy. By 1692, Defoe had run out of money and was caught and put in jail for having too many bills. After he got out of jail, Defoe went on a few trips before coming back to England in 1696. Around this time, Defoe started writing mostly essays and pamphlets about politics, economics, and social issues. In 1697, he released an essay upon projects, a collection of articles about society and economics. In 1703, Defoe was arrested for his political and religious views. Like his father, Defoe was a nonconformist, and he was sent to Newgate Jail, the same jail where Moll Flanders is held in Defoe's book of the same name. He was eventually set free, and he went on to write more than 300 articles, books, and papers. Robinson Crusoe, his most famous book, came out in 1719. When it first came out, Robinson Crusoe was both the author and the main character, and the book was read like a trip diary. Moll Flanders was written by Defoe in 1722, but when it came out, it didn't say who wrote it, so people thought it was about his life. A London bookseller didn't say that Defoe wrote the book until 1770, which was a long time after he had died. In 1726, he wrote The Complete English Tradesman, a political book about trade, economy, and marriage. It was one of his last books. Defoe probably died of a stroke in 1731.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.